Today is a good time to speak about anything on your mind or in any of my recent reels, short videos. I know there are a lot of topics I've covered, and I'm sure you have a lot of questions or stuff that might not be entirely clear. So just shoot if you have any thoughts or questions. Crazy legato stuff in E minor pentatonic plus extensions, so a lot of outside and bad sounding notes, but which actually work because it's the blues and I'm playing them pretty fast, so it's more of a light color touch rather than like a suggestion, okay, this is what you're supposed to listen to, right? Pinku, cool request. So Pinku is asking for some cool rock and blues licks. So that's pretty convenient because we're in a blues setting now, and just so much fun you can do over the blues. So obviously the first thing you want to make sure you're comfortable with is going to be the pentatonic scale. And I'm playing here in our trusty box on the 12th fret. So if you don't know what that is, go learn it. It's 15, 12, 15, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 15, 12. That's the basics for a lot of rock and blues. But just playing the scale up and down doesn't sound good. You can't, learn a scale the way you would learn a chord and expect to make music with it. Learning a scale is just a matter of visualizing the notes, and it's not really useful until you can play some cool licks that fit into the scale shape. So that's what I'm going to try to give you now, some cool licks that work within this shape. Now, most of the stuff I do isn't, it can be kind of tricky because I've been playing for almost 30 years, and if you're just struggling getting started with lead guitar, what I play is not your ideal starting point. So I'm going to try to find a good starting point so you can make use of this scale. Now, I generally like to point people towards like bending and articulation because that's a relatively easy way to start making music with a scale. If I just showed you this, I'd say, whoa, that's a really cool SRV lick. You should learn that. It's like, yeah, but, it's not, maybe not, it's not crazy hard, but still playing that kind of stuff is going to take you years if you've never played lead guitar. So, what I would like to advise you to do is to pretty much take any of the notes within that first box and bend them, okay? So, basically something like this. So it sounds kind of cool, even though it's not as fancy. And one of the reasons it sounds cool, is because the electric guitar is one of the few instruments that really allow us to bend like this. Obviously, with any kind of, keyboard instrument, it's going to be hard unless you start working with a pitch wheel. But it's a different feel, Bending on the guitar is awesome. James Brown is using the opportunity to bash bassists. Well, I like bassists. I'd love to have my own bass player in a drawer here. I could just pull him out and he'd do my jamming with me. I wouldn't mind. So nothing against bass player, unfortunately. But of course, we're a superior species. Of course. I'm all with you. Just kidding, of course. So how do you bend any note within the scale? So one thing you really have to realize is, and this goes to more experienced players as well, even though you can physically bend with 1 or 2 fingers, doesn't mean it's a good idea, right? So you should, if you have a free finger, use all fingers for bending, okay? Even if you're comfortable bending like this, you can do that, but can you do that, It's always going to be easier if you have more strength to add into the bend. So I can't stress this enough. Use your free fingers, not your 3 fingers, but your free fingers for bending. You're not going to regret it, and everything else which you learn afterwards, because we want to be a bit more foreseeing with our learning, right? Just because something works for you with the material you're playing on now doesn't mean that it's going to work for the next thing you try, and then you're going to have to relearn. So better do it right from scratch. Use all fingers when bending. That's just how it is. Here's for you, David. There you have it for you. Harmonics for David. So, we've got that out of the way. Always use all your fingers, right? Like I said, even if you can do decent bending with just 1 or 2 fingers, next time maybe you're going to attempt to play really aggressive pre-bending. Well, that's going to be harder. Maybe you're going to attempt some really adventurous, cool vibrato a la Marty Friedman or something. That's going to be even harder. So again, we want to have a long-term perspective on learning. We don't just want to learn what feels easier right now. James, can I shred? I'll try. I think I messed up. Sorry. Should have ended on this one instead. Let's end with an harmonic instead. I think that's more fun, so we can do it. Sorry, I have to stop now. This isn't serious teaching. How to practice So I'm still in the middle of my long explanation about blues licks here, but trust me, we're getting somewhere here. So we've established that we should use all fingers for bending. And I've had advanced players come to me, and they're good, but they're still like, nah, I just need 2 fingers. It's like, it works, check it out, I can do it. It's like, yeah, you can do that, but can you do this? Oh no, that's harder. So use another finger then. It's like, no, that's not my style. So yeah, trust me on this one. Solo from Pantera. No, just no. Okay, so once you know how to bend properly, things get a bit more musical. But just because you know which fingers to use doesn't mean that you're going to hit the right pitch. So that's the kind of next thing here. If you want to play cool blues licks, you're going to have to bend to the right pitch. Now, how do you do that? You use a reference pitch. So whenever I practice bending from the 15th fret, I'm first going to play the 17th fret as reference note, because this fret is 2 steps above, which means it's a whole step higher, and you can take any note here. The point is just that you want a clean note as reference. So you don't want it to sound out of tune, right? You know, you want to have that reference and practice that. If you use all your fingers and if you practice bending up to reference pitch, then your bends eventually will start sounding good. But what if you can't wait? What if you're in a hurry? You want your bend to sound good now. Well, there are a few tricks you can do, and they all involve not staying for too long on the target pitch. So in other words, not letting listeners hear you haven't practiced your reference bending enough yet. So let me show you that. I'm bending now. But I'm out of pitch, but it sounds okay, right? And the reason I can bend out of pitch and it still sounds good is because I'm also killing those notes. I'm committing a crime right in front of you. That's right. With the side of my palm, or the side of my thumb, sorry, I'm muting the string after I picked it. So I pick a note, and then I put my pick back, but I don't produce any sound. Rather, I kill sound with the side of my thumb. Now, if I do that several times, I get this. So try this. Pick, kill. Pick, kill. And I find it easier to only do upstrokes for this technique. Okay, doesn't sound that good now, but it actually works over a backing track, even though you're out of pitch. So that's a little trick for you, so you can kind of reward yourself before you reach the end goal of bending in pitch. You can still start using those bends. And this brings me back to the original topic of playing your first blues licks in the pentatonic scale. If you've learned your pentatonic scale box, and if you can apply this kind of bending with killing of notes, it's actually going to sound more than just a scale. Let's check it out. This is a boring scale, right? Not very interesting. So if I bend them, it's a bit better. Okay, so I obviously went haywire there after the beginner-friendly bending, then I went totally no beginner-friendly. But that's okay, that's going to come with time as well if you keep at it. But I think this is a cool introduction just so that you get some suggestions what you can do with the scale before you master it. And in general, my advice is to not spend so much time with scales in the beginning. Instead, spend much time learning example licks, riffs, songs, anything musical. I like to compare, learning theory with learning the alphabet. Who would learn the alphabet before you actually learn to speak? No one, right? And it's the same thing with playing scales. You don't want to learn scales before you can play something. So first play some solos and licks and then learn your scales, and it's going to make so much more sense. And you're not going to have to struggle with remembering where the dots are, because you're no longer going to see them as dots. You're going to see them as a framework for the licks you know how to play. So it all just starts to make sense. Okay. So, sorry if I missed any comments here. I agree, Eric Blues. The solo should tell a story. It doesn't really matter if it's slow or fast. Want to ask you a question. Do you think the blues music is the best? In a way, yeah. But no, I listen to all styles of music. And I can't say blues music is where most innovation comes from these days. But I can tell you that without just the simple blues jam, I'm not sure how my playing would be these days, because I always spent, a good portion of my time practicing my chops when I started out, but then I always played a little bit of blues just for the fun of it. I was kind of lazy, didn't learn too many blues licks, so I tried to make use of the ones I had and just combine them and come up with new stuff. Over like a basic backing track such as this one. And I didn't understand it back then, but that's, the best thing I could do to actually practice musicality, as opposed to all the other things I practiced, which was more like a shred speed exercise thing. Cool, James liked my shredding. Emmanuel, what does it call that kind of technique? Which kind of technique? Sorry, man, this was a long time ago. 10 minutes ago in internet time is a long time. That's like a year. You can never remember what happened back then. Could you do the blues like, the bend? A riff with a lot of harmonics. Cool. So I'm going to jam a little bit more, and feel free to stop me at any time if you have any questions. Audrey, what's up, man? Thanks, man. Doing good as yourself. Thanks, man. Saw my recent short video reel about the violin technique. John, thanks so much, man. How you doing? JS, what's up, man? From the Philippines. Sorry, I don't know when you're raging as a machine. Tony, what's up? So this is one of my favorite backing tracks currently. It's called Epic Ballads. It's by one of the instructors on the GMC website, Javier Avilas. And he's a really good, he's basically a studio musician in Spain. And all his tracks are kind of amazing. But this is the first one he really went kind of more hardcore metal, and I liked it. A lot of the stuff he does is more like blues rock based and stuff. String skipping and tapping. Steve Vai style. Yeah, definitely some Steve Vai vibes. Generally, whenever you use your whammy bar a lot, it sounds like Vai. Use it a little bit too much and you sound like Vai. But still, of course, in a musical way, in a melodic way. another way to sound like Vi, if you don't have a whammy bar, you can slide downward. So instead of just playing something simple in A minor, you could do. I'm kind of bad at it, so I think we have to practice. So these slides are very Steve Vai-ish, especially if you slide from up here to down here. So. And I messed up. But of course, the magic Vi combination is like a harmonic and then the bar. So. Scene from Asia. What's up, my man? Where are you from Asia? Thank you, Himadri. So string skipping and tapping. That's a cool request. Let's try it. I don't know. Let's do some string skipping maybe. Let's try some legato string skipping. Not so much string skipping there, but a lot of tapping and legato. So I was going for these kind of Greg Howe inspired. But turns out I haven't practiced them a lot with string skipping. So without string skipping, I find it a little bit easier. Of course, if you use tapping and you don't play as fast, then it's easier to do string skipping, right? By the way, today I'm trying a new iPhone microphone, and so hopefully I'll check back later. Hopefully audio quality is a little bit better in these live streams. I don't know. It's always an experiment because yeah. Myanmar, awesome man. My heart is with you. I hope you can develop in the right direction there, where the people gets to decide in your country. Love from Bangladesh. How you doing, Himadri? Awesome. So, what do we do now? Keep those requests coming, by the way. Let's try. This is still from the Jam Room series at GMC, but this is a Neo Soul lesson. I'm from Stockholm, Sweden. So we're far away geographically, but we're close to the heart. I don't know if that makes sense. Okay. So that's a good question about picks. What picks do you use? And I want to show you something. Before recording anything, I actually try a whole bunch of picks, so I can't give you one definite answer. Here are some of the picks I really like to use. So I don't know if you can see that. So here I have a wooden pick for either acoustic stuff or actually clean tone stuff. This can sound really good. This is my go-to pick. This is the one I use most. It's a Jazz 3 Tortex pick. I have these aluminum picks from Von Hoch, really good. During a long period of time, I only play this. Not only I find them kind of cool for shredding, they're pointy, but also the aluminum gives them a brighter touch. So this is really nice. Here's another kind of custom made by Von Hoch. And also more plastic. This one is awesome for attack because there's more to grip and I can be really aggressive. And this is the same thing here. It's a compromise, has really nice pointy edges, but also it's kind of big and thick, so you get a good grip and you can really attack the strings. So, you know, try different stuff is the only thing I can say. I think this is a good starting point, like Jazz 3s, but it depends a little bit what you're doing. If you're playing the acoustic guitar and strumming, I would advise you to go for like a classic, like Fender medium style pick, which is, you know, which is bendable, right? All the other picks I showed you here, they're kind of stiff, so you can't bend them. And that's a very different feel, you know. And for shredding, I like having stiff picks, but for other occasions, having a softer pick makes sense. If you want to go more funky or more chords, or yeah, some people like to shred with a soft pick as well, but I can't do that. In general, I find it easier to shred with a pointy pick, right? Scene, you're always free to shoot me a message, man. Okay, so try one more time here. So this is a backing track in C minor. Occasionally look in this direction. It's because I'm using the jam room lessons at GMC, where you see the chord progression on screen. And there's one place in this backing track where it changes from C minor to E flat. Oh, here we go. Now back to C minor. You have to keep track of those changes. Cool. Where should I start to properly learn guitar? I know a bunch of family chords and fingerstyles of some songs, but I'm not familiar with pentatonics and scales. Cool. So I think it's a good idea to learn maybe a few songs, a few riffs before you even attempt to learn pentatonics and that stuff. But if you're like me and you've always dreamed about playing lead guitar, then you can't really wait, right? That's how it was for me. I definitely practiced shredding before I even understood what a 12-bar blues was. And some might argue that that is wrong, but I don't know. For me, that was the only way. Otherwise, I would have put the guitar down, I think. So regardless of what type of person you are, definitely want to point you towards my current Patreon deal, because you can get for just $3, you can get my most important starting course. So starting from acoustic guitar, and then going to the electric guitar and lead guitar. So it's a bit of a shameless plug, but I think you'd be hard pressed to find a better value deal there. And plus you have all of my other Patreon stuff coming there. So that could be a starting point, because I show you like the basics of, basic rhythm guitar, basic chord changes, basic riffing, and the basic techniques that goes with it. And then I do the same for lead guitar, so basic lead guitar scales and lead guitar technique. This is where it starts to, get where people kind of fall into these, how do you call them, like pitfalls, or it gets more difficult, right? Here I think people overcomplicate things. They think they have to play scales up and down, stuff like that. But that's not a good starting point. You want to make something that sounds cool out of your first notes, out of your first lead notes. So even if you just learn, that's still something you can use. So yeah. JS, arpeggio. That's for you, JS. So it's a bit of a shameless plug, but I would definitely recommend you check out my Patreon. You're going to find the link in the profile here. But of course, there's a wealth of knowledge out there, so it's more a matter of finding a structured path that works for you. I know I would have appreciated someone telling me, the order of things. Do this, then do that. Because I probably wouldn't have followed the order, but then at least I would have known what I was supposed to be doing. Cool, Kai. Thanks so much. So again, just $3, price of coffee now. So check it out. I think it's well worth it. And today I recorded 4 tutorials that are coming for that one. So lots of content coming up there. And of course, you get access to all my all the tabs and backing tracks that I use for all my shorts. So lots of fun stuff there. I wonder if I'm going to maybe put up this track as well, because it's one of my favorite now. It's there, Durjoy. So I'm almost always using the C minor scale here, except for one time when the backing track modulates to E flat minor. So at one point I have to change the scale, and that makes it a little bit more difficult. Now I've played this backing track for a bunch of times, so I start to feel when it's happening, but that kind of thing requires quite a bit of practicing, and it doesn't come naturally. But for most part, it's just C minor, and then the occasional, C minor pentatonic, which is that, bluesy. But anytime you see me play something fast here, that's going to be the C minor scale. Or it's also called C Aeolian scale, but it's the same notes. And it's just easier to play a scale that has 7 notes than one that has 5. It doesn't sound like much, but the pentatonic scale has 5 notes which repeat all over the fretboard. But because you only have 5 notes, most of the shapes just have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2 notes per string. And it's harder to play that fast than playing 3 notes per string, which is like the C minor scale. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Don't get me wrong, both are hard to play fast. But it's a whole other world playing 3 notes as opposed to 2 notes per string. So, long story short, I'm using pentatonic and minor in the key of C here. Pentatonic scale. And now minor scale. And now switch to E flat minor. And now back to C minor. So it's a little tricky with that one modulation, but for most parts it's just C minor. E flat minor and back to C minor. Flat minor. Soon back to. Oh, my connection died. Let's try it again. We're gonna have to restart it. C minor. C minor all the time. C minor scale. I missed the change to E flat minor now. I don't know if you can hear that. It sounded a bit wrong there for a second. So try to get better at my vibrato there. If I don't think actively about it, I do this shallow vibrato, which I don't like. So I'm trying to do this. Minor, back to C minor. E flat minor, back to C minor. Sandy Maria Copley, what's up? My woman, I should say. That sounds bad, though. So what's up? Yes, awesome. E flat minor. here, most in the key of C minor. Joy, thanks so much. This backing track is from the Jam Room series at GMC. So it's my co-instructor, Javier Aviles. So just search for Jam Room or Neo Soul and you're going to find it on the GMC site. And there are 3 backing tracks in this lesson. And the first one is free as well, so you can check it out. I might put this one up on my Patreon because I use it a lot now. Oops. Sindrex from the Philippines, what's up, my man? Sandy sending me a heart, thank you so much. Rona from the Philippines. Hey, hello. Why not? Oh yeah, Richard, that's the way to do it. Thank you, Richard. Bit of Mark Knopfler. Bit of Mark Knopfler on steroid. Richard, you can play this good, man. You can do it. If I can do it, anyone can. I don't have any, musical parents. And nobody considered me gifted when I started out. So I just worked very hard. And I just, even after having practiced for like 10 years or something, I tried to make it to music schools here in Sweden. That didn't work out. So it's been a long journey, but it's been a very fun journey. So that's why, whenever I teach, I always emphasize that, if what you're learning isn't fun, you can just give up. Because it's going to be a long journey, but it should be an awesome journey. It should be the best journey of your life. And then, on top of that, you're going to get good, but that's not even the main thing.